The year was 2483. Humanity had finally spread beyond the solar system, proud and free among the stars. Cities floated above Jupiter's clouds and colonies mined the moons of Saturn. People believed they were unstoppable, until the day the sky turned red. It began as a shimmer over the Pacific Ocean, a light too perfect to be natural. Then came the sound, deep, vibrating through every machine and every heartbeat. The Galactic Council had arrived. They called it a diplomatic entry, but within hours their warships filled Earth's orbit like black storms. The leaders of Earth tried to negotiate. They sent messages filled with hope, peace, and reason, but the Council did not come for peace. They came for control. Within 3 days, Earth's defenses were gone. Orbital platforms fell like rain. Nuclear missiles never reached their targets, intercepted by alien weapons that bent light itself. The skies of Earth burned orange and cities turned to ash. When the dust settled, the invaders sent their message across the planet. You are no longer citizens of Earth. You are assets of the Galactic Union. Factories were rebuilt into labor centers. Humans were loaded into massive transports, tens of thousands at a time. Some were sent to distant planets, some to asteroid mines, others vanished into space. The proud species that once dreamed of touching the stars now dug holes for others. Among them was a man named Captain Elias Ward, once commander of Earth's orbital fleet, now a prisoner working in an alien scrapyard on the edge of the Sirius Belt. He watched human ships, once symbols of strength, being melted down for metal. Every night, he stared at the twin moons and whispered, "We will rise again." The guards laughed at him. The aliens, tall and silver-skinned, called humans soft-bloods. To them, humans were clever but weak, creatures who once played at war but had never faced real power. Still, whispers spread among the slaves. In the mines of Vega, in the shipyards of Orion, in the dark pits of Tau Ceti, humans shared stories. Stories of Earth, of blue oceans, green forests, and skies that belonged to them. Hope, like a spark, refused to die. Years passed. Generations grew under alien control. The Council divided humanity among its members, each species taking their share. The Zarthians used humans as builders. The Thalkor made them miners. The Varnas turned them into living batteries, draining energy from their bodies to power machines. And yet, humanity adapted. They learned the alien languages. They studied their tools, their systems, their mistakes. Quietly, they remembered. One day, deep within a mining colony on Proxima Prime, a child drew a symbol in the dirt, a blue circle with white clouds. A guard saw it and beat him, but that night every wall in the mine carried that same symbol, Earth, the name that would not die. The Council noticed. They increased control, sent new enforcers, erased human culture, but they could not erase memory. Captain Ward, now old and gray, was one of the few who remembered the first invasion. One night, while working, he found a piece of alien code in a broken machine, a data crystal containing star maps. He hid it, risked everything to copy it onto old Earth tech. He didn't know if anyone would ever use it, but he whispered as he hid it beneath the floor, "If you find this, remember who we were." He died 3 days later. Centuries after the fall, the Galactic Council celebrated the Day of Subjugation, a festival marking Earth's enslavement. They laughed about the past, how easily humans had fallen, how their fire had burned out. But deep beneath the red sands of Mars, a hidden signal pulsed, slow, repeating, ancient. It came from an old transmitter, built long ago, left forgotten under the surface. Its message was simple. 3 words, "We are coming." No one in the Council noticed. Not yet. But far away in the dark between stars, something began to move. Earth's story was not over. The galaxy believed humanity was broken, a lost species scattered across alien worlds. But they forgot the one truth written in every human heart. When humans are pushed to the edge, they don't surrender. They evolve. And somewhere, hidden in silence, the children of slaves were building something powerful, something the galaxy had never seen. The flame of Earth had not died. It had only gone dark, waiting for the right moment to burn again. The galaxy had forgotten Earth. 1,000 years after the enslavement, The Council's maps didn't even mark the Sol system anymore. To them, humanity was dust scattered through alien colonies, useful only for work, trade, and suffering. But in the silent deserts of Mars, under ancient tunnels carved by machines long gone, the flame of Earth still burned. The colony was called Red Haven, though few outside its walls knew it existed. It had begun as a forgotten labor outpost, a place where the Council dumped broken slaves. The air was thin, the ground poisonous, and the sky forever red. But inside the deep tunnels, humans lived, and remembered. No one alive had ever seen Earth's oceans or its blue sky, yet every generation told the same story. We came from a world of light. They took it from us. We will take it back. In the heart of Red Haven stood a chamber older than anyone remembered. Its walls were lined with human carvings, maps, symbols, names of the fallen. At its center burned a holographic flame, flickering endlessly, powered by a reactor that no one fully understood. They called it the Flame of Earth. Elders gathered around it every year. Children listened wide-eyed as the stories of the old world were told again and again, of oceans, forests, and skies that were free. Among those children was Lyra Ward, descendant of Captain Elias Ward, the man who once sent the last human message before his death. Lyra grew up hearing about his defiance, about his hidden code, about the lost data crystal buried under alien ruins. To most, those were myths. To her, they were a promise. By the time Lyra reached adulthood, the galaxy had changed again. The Council was weaker now, bloated with wealth torn by its own wars. Species that once ruled together now distrusted each other. The empire of 1,000 worlds was beginning to rot from within, and in that decay, humans found opportunity. Hidden across dozens of slave colonies, quiet revolts began. Machines malfunctioned, communications failed, ships vanished. On the surface, these looked like accidents, but they were not. A network had formed in the shadows. The Reclaimers. Humans who passed secret codes through maintenance channels, market signals, and mining reports. Each message carried one symbol. Lyra became one of their leaders. She wasn't a soldier. She was a mechanic, small, quiet, sharp. But she could take apart any alien system and rebuild it from scrap. She dreamed of something more than rebellion. She dreamed of power. In a hidden base beneath Mars, Lyra discovered a vault sealed for centuries. When she opened it, she found a single artifact, a metal cube, marked with words no one had spoken aloud for generations. Project Exodus, Earth Fleet Command. Inside were ancient coordinates, weapon blueprints, and encrypted maps of long-forgotten human warships, dark matter carriers that were never completed during the first invasion. Ships powerful enough to rival entire fleets. Lyra didn't tell anyone. She only whispered to herself, "Grandfather, you did it." For years, she and her team worked in secret, rebuilding fragments of that old technology. Human engineers reverse-engineered alien reactors, replaced them with hybrid designs, and built the first new human ship in over 1,000 years, the Phoenix. It was small, but it could cloak, move between systems silently, and hit harder than anything its size should. When the Council discovered a ship with human tech had destroyed one of their patrols, they assumed it was pirates. When another fleet vanished, they grew suspicious. When the third attack came, a fleet of invisible ships appearing out of nowhere, destroying orbital stations in seconds. Panic spread across the stars. They had no idea who was behind it. The Reclaimers became a legend whispered in fear. Ghosts of Earth, the aliens called them. They strike and disappear. They don't speak, don't surrender, don't negotiate. But they were not ghosts. They were humans who had waited for generations, who had learned every alien trick, who had built weapons using their enemies' knowledge. Lyra stood aboard the Phoenix as it hovered above the burnt remains of a Council world. Around her, hundreds of ships appeared from Cloak, each one built by humans from different colonies, each one carrying the same blue symbol on its hull. Her voice echoed through every channel. They made us slaves. They forgot what we were. Now we remind them. The fleet roared forward, news spread faster than light. Entire species went silent, unsure what to believe. Some alien leaders thought it was a rebellion contained to one system. Others feared something greater. In the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, the oldest species gathered again. They hadn't spoken of Earth in centuries, but now that word returned, cold and heavy. "It's impossible," one said. "Humans can't build fleets," said another. "They couldn't before," replied the Chancellor. But perhaps they learned. The Council ordered full mobilization, but it was too late. In the dark between systems, the human fleet grew, fueled by vengeance, guided by old codes and lost knowledge. Every captured ship became a new weapon. Every liberated human joined their ranks. Lyra knew the war was only beginning. One night, standing before the flame in Red Haven, she placed her hand on the holographic light and whispered, "This time, they will remember Earth." The flame flickered brighter, as if the planet itself heard her. Above Mars, hundreds of human ships waited in silence. The stars ahead shimmered with the glow of alien empires that once ruled them. The message spread across the fleet. Phase 1 complete. The hidden flame burns again, and for the first time in 1,000 years, humanity's war drums echoed across the void, steady, strong, and terrifying. The galaxy had grown quiet in fear. Rumors spread like wildfire through trade routes and shadow networks. Entire fleets had vanished. Stations once bright with commerce now floated silent and dark. Something unseen was moving through the stars, cold, patient, and merciless. At first, the Council dismissed it as pirates or rogue systems, but when the third regional fleet disappeared near the Orion frontier, they began to whisper one word again: humans. The same word they had buried 1,000 years ago. Lyra Ward stood at the command deck of the Phoenix, her gaze fixed on the holographic star map before her. Hundreds of red dots, Council colonies, dozens already marked with ashes. Around her floated the silent ships of the new human fleet. Thousands of vessels made from stolen tech, rebuilt weapons, and human creativity. They called themselves the Solar Reclamation Armada. Their goal was simple: erase every empire that once thrived on human slavery. The galaxy had enslaved them. Now humanity would return the favor. Lyra wasn't a queen, not a general, not a politician. She was a symbol, the first to awaken Earth's vengeance. Commanders from dozens of colonies answered to her not because of power but belief. She spoke the words they all carried in their hearts. "We are not forgotten. We are the fire beneath the ashes." Their first true strike came at Varnus Prime, the capital of one of the oldest council species. The Varnus, known for turning humans into living energy conduits. For centuries, their cities had run on human life. Now those cities would burn. The Varnus detected a faint signal approaching from the void. A single ship, human design, unarmed, or so it seemed. They laughed at the warning alarms. Then the stars exploded. Dozens of human dreadnoughts uncloaked at once. The space above Varnus Prime turned black as their dark matter reactors lit up. Beams of energy cut through the Varnus defense grid like paper. Orbital shields collapsed in seconds. The human fleet didn't send demands or warnings, only one transmission. For Earth, in less than an hour, Varnus Prime was gone. 1 billion lives erased, not by chaos but by surgical precision. No civilians. No collateral. Only the ruling caste and their fortresses. The galaxy watched in silence. Across the stars, slave colonies began to revolt. Human workers stole weapons. Hijacked transports joined the fleet. For the first time in 1,000 years, the enslaved rose. Not just in anger, but in unity. Alien overseers who once barked orders now hid behind walls. Some begged for mercy. Others fled, abandoning their worlds, but there was no mercy left. Humanity's patience had ended centuries ago. Inside the council hall, panic grew. Reports arrived faster than the leaders could read them. Empires that once ruled for millennia were losing entire sectors in weeks. "They are not fighting like us," said one alien general. "They destroy command first. They never miss. How can they see through our cloaks?" "Because," replied another grimly, "they built them." The humans had learned every alien system, their weaknesses, their arrogance, their patterns. They used the Council's own inventions against them. Every trap, every protocol, every encryption key. Humans had it all, and worst of all, they fought with no emotion. No hatred in their voices. Only cold focus. It terrified the galaxy. Lyra watched as Varnus Prime burned from the viewport of the Phoenix. The blue glow of the planet's destruction reflected in her eyes. "One world down," her second officer said. "How many left?" "Too many," she answered softly. "But we're not stopping." She walked to the holotable and activated a projection. The council chamber's coordinates, still hidden in the core systems. The seat of their power, the place where humanity's slavery began. When the Council falls, Lyra said, the galaxy will remember this day, the day Earth's silence broke. But victory had a cost. The more they attacked, the more attention they drew. The Council united for the first time in centuries. A massive coalition fleet and over 10,000 ships was sent to hunt down the human armada. They met in the dark between stars, near the shattered moons of Dravok's Rift. When the Council arrived, they found no ships, no signals, only silence. Then came a sound, low, distant, mechanical. Like thunder, hundreds of human ships uncloaked around them. The largest of them all, a carrier so huge it blotted out the stars, drifted forward. Its name, Erebus, a relic rebuilt from an ancient human design. 10 kilometers long, powered by dark matter fusion. Its hull still carried old words burned into metal, in memory of Earth. The battle that followed would be remembered for eternity. The Council fired first. Beams of plasma and light struck Erebus like waves on stone. The ship didn't move. Then in silence it returned fire. One beam that split the Council fleet clean in half. Ships vanished. Space itself cracked under the weapon's energy. Within minutes, thousands of Council vessels burned. The survivors fled. Those who lived spoke of a fleet that fought like machines. Humans who never screamed or broke formation, and a commander who watched without blinking. Lyra's face was the last image many ever saw. When the battle ended, the void was quiet again. Erebus drifted among the wreckage, surrounded by the ghosts of an empire. Lyra stood in the command deck, eyes fixed on the burning debris. Her voice was steady. "Transmit the message," she said. Across the galaxy, every remaining Council world received the same words. "We were your slaves. You broke our home. You called us weak. Now we are the fire that will burn your empires to dust. We are humanity." The wrath of Earth had begun. Every planet that once profited from human chains would soon know what it felt like to be powerless. The galaxy had awakened a storm, and there would be no calm until the last debt was paid. The Galactic Council sat in silence. For the first time in 1,000 years, no one spoke. The air inside the grand chamber was thick with fear. Giant holograms flickered around them, shattered fleets, burning cities, intercepted transmissions that all carried the same 3 words. For the Earth. Every empire that once ruled with arrogance now trembled. The humans they had called animals had returned, and they brought a storm that no weapon could stop. The Chancellor of the Council, an ancient being with glassy skin and trembling hands, finally broke the silence. "How many systems have we lost?" A trembling aide replied, 37, Chancellor. "And 5 more are gone since yesterday." "Gone?" "Completely. No survivors, no signals, nothing." At the far end of the chamber, a hologram flickered. The face of Admiral Xylan, commander of the Joint Council Defense Fleet. His eyes looked hollow, his armor scorched. "We faced them at Dravok's Rift," he said slowly. "They didn't fight like us. They didn't speak. They didn't even show emotion. They moved like one mind." The Chancellor's voice shook. "You outnumbered them 10 to 1. Xylan looked down. "And yet, we were the ones running." He raised his gaze again, his voice bitter. "You should have destroyed them when you had the chance 1,000 years ago. You made them slaves. You taught them everything about war. And they remembered." The hologram blinked out. Outside, the galaxy burned. Worlds that had once traded in human lives now begged for help. The humans didn't take prisoners. They didn't occupy planets. They simply erased them, swiftly, cleanly, completely. On the planet Virel, where human slaves once mined energy crystals, the Council's governors gathered in panic. The skies turned black as invisible ships appeared, and the planet's communication network went dead. Moments later, Virel was gone. From the ashes came a broadcast that reached every corner of the galaxy. Lyra Ward's voice, calm and steady. "You cannot erase a species that refuses to die. You took our children. You burned our home. You thought time would make us forget, but the stars remember, and so do we." Inside the Phoenix, Lyra stood at the viewport watching another Council world fade into smoke. Around her floated the fleet, massive, dark, silent. Her second officer, a scarred man from the Titan colonies, turned to her. We're receiving hundreds of signals. Other slave species want to join us. The Varnus rebels, the Drak, even some from the Council's inner ring. They say they'll fight under our banner. Lyra looked at him. No, they didn't stand with us when Earth fell. Let them fight their own wars. This one is ours. But Lyra, some of them never. She cut him off gently. Humanity doesn't need allies. We need justice. He said nothing more. The Council's next meeting was desperate. Entire governments collapsed in weeks. They argued for hours. Some wanted to surrender, others demanded annihilation. The Chancellor slammed his clawed hand on the table. Surrender to humans? Impossible. They are primitives. A quiet voice spoke from the corner. It belonged to a historian, one of the few scholars who had studied Earth's past. Primitives? He asked softly. Do you even understand who they are? They are not like us. When we break, we surrender. When they break, they rebuild stronger. They don't fear extinction, and they remember it. Silence fell again. Then a guard burst into the chamber, gasping for air. Chancellor! The human fleet, they've entered our system. The room erupted into chaos. Screens flashed. Planetary shields activated. Every defense system across the Council's homeworld came online. Tens of thousands of ships prepared to fire, but it was already too late. From the void, humanity arrived. The dark matter carrier Erebus appeared first, flanked by hundreds of warships. They moved in perfect formation, silent, majestic, unstoppable. Behind them, more ships emerged, each bearing the emblem of Earth, a blue sphere surrounded by fire. For the first time in centuries, the galactic capital, Sanctum Prime, felt fear. Lyra Ward appeared on every screen, her voice echoing across the system. Galactic Council of the Thousand Races, you stand accused of crimes against humanity. For centuries you enslaved our kind, erased our home, and silenced our name. Today Earth speaks. The Council tried to reply, but their comms went dead. The humans had jammed every frequency. The first wave of fire began. Thousands of plasma beams tore through the sky. The Council's defense fleet fought back desperately, but their shots hit nothing. The human ships phased through attacks, bending gravity and light like ghosts. Inside Erebus, human officers stood calmly at their stations. They didn't shout. They didn't panic. They executed every move with precision. Lyra watched the holographic battle unfold, her expression unreadable. Target their command hubs only. No civilians, she ordered. The humans weren't savages. They were precise, destroying only the powerful, the guilty, the architects of Earth's suffering. Within hours, Sanctum Prime's skies turned red. The council chamber shook as explosions thundered outside. The Chancellor fell to his knees, staring at the burning sky. This can't be real, he whispered. A deep voice answered behind him. It's real, and it's justice. He turned. A human stood there, dressed in black armor marked with Earth's emblem. His eyes glowed with reflection of the flames outside. The guards froze, too afraid to move. Who are you? The Chancellor gasped. The human smiled faintly. A messenger. He placed a small device on the ground. A hologram of Lyra Ward appeared before them. Your time is over, she said softly. For every chain forged on Earth, one of your worlds will burn. This is not revenge. This is balance. The device beeped once, and then the chamber vanished in light. When the fires faded, the Galactic Council was gone. All that remained was silence, and the symbol of Earth, glowing over the ruins of the once great capital. Across the stars, every species received the final transmission from the humans. The Council has fallen. The age of slaves is over. Humanity has returned. The war that began with whispers had become a fire across the stars. From the edge of the Orion Arm to the core worlds of the Council, whole empires trembled. The night skies of countless planets glowed with burning wreckage. Every child in the galaxy had learned to fear the same name, humans. The Council was gone. Its great chamber, once the heart of galactic law, was now a field of ruins drifting in orbit. Yet the war did not stop. Humanity's wrath had not finished its work. Lyra Ward stood on the bridge of the Erebus, the largest and most feared ship in human history. Her face was calm, her uniform dark as the void outside. Around her, the new human fleet filled space, thousands of vessels, each built from the bones of fallen enemies. The hulls were black, the markings blue, and their engines burned like the eyes of gods. She stared at the holographic map before her. Hundreds of red dots glowed, the last remnants of the old empires that once ruled humanity. "These are the worlds that traded us as slaves," she said quietly. "Then we burn them?" asked her second officer. Lyra's voice stayed even. "No, we make them remember. The humans didn't conquer. They didn't occupy. They judged. Every attack was cold and calculated. The fleet would arrive in silence, disable military targets, transmit one warning, and wait. If the planet surrendered its leaders and released its slaves, humanity left it untouched. If not, the skies turned white. On Ravok 9, the alien generals refused surrender. Their cannons fired for hours into empty space before realizing no human ship was hit. Then the ground shook. From orbit, Erebus released a single kinetic rod. One strike, pure precision. The entire military continent vanished in light. The rest of the planet surrendered within minutes. The humans never boasted. They never celebrated. They only moved to the next world. Across the galaxy, something strange began to happen. Species that once hated humans started to fear, but also admire them. Stories spread of human ships rescuing alien slaves, healing the wounded, helping the weak, and then disappearing into the dark. The message was always the same. Earth remembers all. The guilty will burn, the innocent will live. Lyra's fleet grew with every passing month. Former slaves from dozens of races joined under her flag, swearing loyalty not to power but to justice. The fleet's symbol, the blue earth surrounded by fire, became more than vengeance. It became hope. One night aboard the Erebus, Lyra stood alone before the great viewing window. The stars shimmered, silent witnesses to her war. Her AI companion Ares spoke softly. "You've done what no human has ever done, Commander. The galaxy bends before Earth." Lyra didn't smile. "Bend isn't enough. They must learn." "Learn what?" "That freedom is sacred. That no world has the right to chain another." The AI hesitated. "And when they've learned?" Lyra turned to the window. "Then we disappear." Far away on the ruins of Sanctum Prime, a survivor of the Council watched transmissions of the destruction. His name was Drav Saren, once a high scientist, now a fugitive. He gathered what remained of the Council's archives and studied the human tactics. He whispered to himself, "They've surpassed us." Not in strength, but in will. He looked at the last known image of Earth, a blue world once enslaved, now a legend. "Perhaps," he murmured, "we deserve this." He sent a message into the void. "Commander Ward, if you can hear this, the galaxy is yours. Don't make the same mistake we did. Don't become what you hated." The message was never answered, but it was received. As the years passed, the human fleets moved deeper into forgotten space. Entire sectors were left empty, cleansed of tyranny and greed. The once mighty empires became scattered colonies, ruled by fear and memory. Children on alien worlds played with models of human ships, calling them the ghosts of fire. Priests whispered of Earth as both savior and destroyer. The galaxy had changed forever, yet even within the human fleet, whispers grew. Some officers questioned how far their vengeance should go. "We've burned enough," one said. "When do we stop?" Lyra heard those whispers. She didn't silence them. She only said, "When every slave is free." Not before. One day Erebus intercepted a transmission, an old Earth signal, centuries old, bouncing through forgotten satellites. It was a voice recording, rough and broken. "To whoever hears this, we will return." Humanity never dies. Lyra closed her eyes. For a moment, the commander of the most powerful fleet in history looked like a child again, remembering the stories of Earth told to her by the elders of Mars. "They were right," she whispered. "We came back." That night she made her decision. A fleet-wide order was transmitted. Operation Dawnfall. Final phase. The remaining empires will stand trial. No destruction without cause. Justice, not extinction. The humans had burned the galaxy, but now they would rebuild it in fire and truth. The war's end began not with an explosion, but with silence. Across the galaxy, the human fleet slowed. Communications opened with surviving worlds. Treaties were sent, not demands. The message was simple. The age of chains is over. Build a new order, or burn in the old one. Billions watched as Lyra Ward, the woman who had erased empires, broadcast her final message to the stars. We were your slaves. You made us crawl. But humanity rose higher than fear. We burned your cruelty so no one else will live in chains again. Remember this. Earth is not your enemy. But if you make slaves again, we will return. The signal repeated for days, and then, one by one, the human fleets vanished into deep space, leaving behind only silence, ashes, and hope. The galaxy had gone silent. No alarms, no fleets, no council decrees. Just the quiet hum of empty worlds, the kind that once ruled the stars and now lay in ruin. The fire that humanity unleashed had burned away the chains of thousands of civilizations, and from that fire something new was beginning to rise. Lyra Ward stood alone on the deck of the Erebus. The massive ship floated above the ruins of Sanctum Prime, the old galactic capital. Below, the planet's surface shimmered like glass, still glowing from the war that ended everything. For the first time in years, there was no battle report, no command to give, no target to strike, only silence. Her second officer, Marcus Hale, approached quietly. The fleets are standing by, Commander. No enemy left to fight. Lyra didn't answer. Her eyes stayed fixed on the burning planet below. We fought for freedom, she said softly. Now we must learn how to live in it. In the months that followed the fall of the Council, the galaxy became a graveyard of empires. Some species tried to rebuild. Others disappeared completely, unable to survive without the systems that humanity destroyed. But on the edges of the void, humanity did not claim worlds. They did not plant flags or build new thrones. They sent aid to the enslaved species, repaired damaged colonies, and left them with one rule written in fire. No chains. Ever again. On the planet Varel, alien survivors gathered where once humans had been slaves. They built a monument from melted ship metal, a great statue of a human hand breaking a shackle. They called it the Flame of Earth. Every year, they lit a fire at its base to honor the humans who freed them. Across the stars, stories spread of human fleets that appeared to save entire worlds from collapse, then vanished without taking anything in return. Some believed the humans were gods. Others said they were ghosts, but those who had seen them up close knew the truth: they were not gods. They were simply free men and women who had learned what it cost to stay free. One night, Lyra stood inside the Erebus's observation dome watching the stars. A hologram shimmered beside her, the AI Ares. The fleet's work is done, Ares said. The galaxy is rebuilding. Your orders? Lyra turned away from the stars. We disappear. Disappear? Let them build their own peace, she replied. If we stay, they'll learn to depend on us or fear us. We didn't fight to rule the stars, Ares. We fought to free them. Ares hesitated. And what of Earth? Will we return? Lyra smiled faintly. Not yet. The Earth we lost is gone, but the idea of it, that still lives. And so the great exodus began. The human fleet, tens of thousands of ships, left known space. They drifted toward the black edges of the galaxy, where no light had touched in eons. Their transmissions faded one by one. Then or nothing. No one ever saw them again. Centuries passed. The galaxy healed. New alliances formed between species that once enslaved one another. Trade routes reopened. Peace, fragile but real, returned. But the legend of Earth never faded. Children born on alien worlds grew up hearing stories of the humans, the ones who burned empires to ashes, then walked away. Scholars debated if they were still alive. Some said they went beyond the stars, building a new civilization in the dark. Others believed they slept, waiting for the galaxy to forget its lessons so they could rise again. Whatever the truth was, the humans had become something greater than conquerors. They had become myth. One day, far in the future, a young explorer from the rebuilt Drac Empire found a derelict satellite floating near a dying sun. It was ancient, older than any record in their archives. Inside was a single message, cracked with age but still clear. The words were simple. We are humanity. We were enslaved. We fought, we burned. But we never hated. We only remembered. To the galaxy that remain, do better than we did. From the children of Earth, the explorer carried the message back to his world. Soon it spread across every network, every planet, every species. For weeks the galaxy fell quiet again, remembering the fire that had once cleansed it. On a quiet world orbiting a red dwarf star, a young alien girl stood by her window and looked at the night sky. Somewhere out there, she imagined, the humans still watched. She whispered into the darkness, "Thank you." Light years away, beyond the edges of charted space, a single ship moved through the void. Its hull black as the night, its emblem glowing faintly blue. Inside the command deck, Lyra Ward sat alone, older now, her eyes still sharp. The stars stretched endlessly before her. "Signal received," Ares said softly. "Another generation remembers," Lyra smiled. "Good," she whispered. Then we did not fight in vain. The Erebus turned slowly toward the unknown, its engines flaring with light one last time, and then the ship, and the last trace of humanity, vanished into the endless dark. Final transmission. Earth Fleet Record 01. Here ends the age of empires. Here begins the memory of mankind. We were slaves. We became legends, and the stars will never forget our fire.